What's up, boys? It's Nick from Team Table 501 here. I am the king of the scrubs, and today I am bringing you my post-NAWCQ semi-budget Salamangreat deck profile for the rest of the off-season, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. So, Nats is over. Hooray. We only have Worlds in a month. Nobody fucking cares. Nobody's gonna watch the thing. If it's anything like last year, no one's gonna watch the thing. So, as far as most people are concerned, competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Is over. But for me, this is like my prime time, just because like people start attending locals again, and people don't take the game as seriously. Which isn't necessarily a good thing. It just means it's easier for me to get credit at my locals, because I'm obviously not as good as a player as I once was. So, like, that's why I haven't really been playing as much. That's one of the reasons why I haven't been playing as much. Is like I don't want to go to locals and burn money for a game that I don't really care about. So. But I really enjoy the Salamangreat deck. I just love sitting and experimenting with it and testing new cards and theory. And this is where I'm currently at. A lot of it is tentative. A lot of it's probably going to change in 2 months, depending on what is on the next ban list. But who knows? If things stay relatively the same and nothing new like shakes up the format, nothing gets too expensive, I might consider going to an OTS or a regional, and I'll probably play this. But anyways, as always, link to the deck list is in the description below, along with my Facebook and Twitter. Go follow me, I post cool shit. But without further ado, let's just get into the deck list. So for the main deck, the main deck is pretty standard. 3 Gazelle, this card is busted. 3 Spinny, this is the best extender. And then this is going to be a little weird, but I only play 2 Foxy. This is because I'm playing more normal summons. So I don't want to have to choose between like Foxy and the other normal summon. And usually when you want this card, you can find it from Circle and Gazelle and Mirage Dahlia. You just have access to it at all times. And then for the level 4s, 1 Jack Jaguar. I thought about playing 2 for a while. But the problem is that if you don't draw Gazelle, but you draw Jack Jaguar, you just don't do anything. It's like playing 2 Garnets with Brilliant Fusion. Like, yeah, playing 2 means you're more likely to open it, but it means that if you draw this and Gazelle, you still have another one in your deck for the full combo. So, whereas if you play 1, you draw it way less, but if you do draw it and you don't draw Gazelle, you can't combo. So. It's weird. Like, I don't know. You probably could play 2 of this if you wanted to. I'm still going to play 1. And then the 1 Falco and the 1 Foul. Foul is great. Falco is insane. And these 2 synergize really well together because if Foul's on the field and Falco's in your graveyard, you can go Falco effect, return this to your hand, summon Falco, and then Foul sees that a Salad was summoned, so you get to summon the Foul back. So it's a 1-card rank 4, which is great. So 11 Salads, pretty standard. Like, 2 Foxy is probably the weirdest thing that's going on here. But the reason for that is 3 Flame Buffalo. So, I've been pretty hit or miss on this card, like, the entirety of the time that people have been considering playing it in this deck. But, now that I've played it more and more and more, this card is just insane. Like, this card is actually just Pot of Greed 85% of the time. And that is nuts. It is very annoying when you, like, draw Flame Buffalo and Gazelle, and that's all you draw. So it's like, do you go Flame Buffalo, do you go Gazelle? Because the problem is that, like, if Buffalo doesn't draw you extenders, then you can't complete the combo, whereas Gazelle, like, gets you a board, but it doesn't, like, do anything. It's like, alright, I went +2. Cool, kill you. But yeah, this card is insane. It's even a lot better going second, because it helps you dig for, your breaking board cards, especially in games 2 and 3, where you can dig for your evenly matches, and you can dig for your, you can dig for Super Poly and all those kind of cards that just help you break your opponent's board going second. So, yeah, Buffalo's great. And then for hand traps, 3 Ash, pretty standard. 2 Ghost Ogre. This card is actually a lot better now than it once was because of the uptick in Sky Striker. You're able to hit multi-roll with this. It's okay in the mirror as well, being able to hit the Mirage Dahlia. Or sometimes you can, you really can't hit Sunlight Wolf with this, although if you get a Sunlight Wolf with this, then, like, you're probably winning that game. And even against like Danger, being able to hit the Saryuja is really good. It's pretty bad against Orcus though, because they're usually not going to let you. They don't really have a lot of cards that you can ogre. So, and then 3 Valor. So 8 main deck hand traps. I still thought about like main deck Crow, main deck Lancia, but they just were so underwhelming in testing that it just wasn't worth it. So that does it for the monsters. I believe there are 22. And then on to the spells. 3 Circle and 1 Sanctuary. No Will, no Fusion of Fire. I still think those cards are super win more in this deck. I was trying out Will again, because I saw a lot of builds from Nationals were playing Will. But every time I played it, it just felt like I was just winning the game anyway. I'd rather just like search more traps, or just be able to solidify my board vision that I just can't lose the game. Because searching Will in some spots is just going to lose you the game, so... Although drawing Will is great. Like, I'm not going to sit here and deny it. 2 Desires. Sorry about the proxy. Mine still has not arrived in the mail yet. It's really annoying. But, yeah, this card's great. And then, so this is the tech, really. 2 mainboard Super Polymerization. This card is very powerful if you're in the right matchup. So, at first I saw this from the Oceanic Nationals, and it made no sense to me. Like, why would you want to play a go second card in your going first deck? But then someone at Nationals did it, and it made a lot of sense, especially with Buffalo. Going second, this deck, like, you need your cards to resolve. Like, in order for Rashalia to break a board, you need to be able to get some Rashalia in the first place, and you really can't do that most of the time when you're going second. Or, like, Rage, you already need to have a board set up for it to kill your opponent's cards going second, whereas this card just does that. So, your opponent has their big Danger Thunder Dragon board or their big Orcus board, and you have this card in your hand. You can just activate this, discard a card, usually a Spinny or whatever, break their board, summon out your Starving Venom or your Chimera if you're in the mirror, and then you can trigger a Gazelle, and it like just gets you there going second. And even when you're going first, you can just set this as a trap, and like during the battle phase, or at the end of your opponent's turn, you can just activate this and like clear their board out of nowhere so that on your turn, you just win the game. So, or just like sometimes when you're trying to push for game, even when you're in a matchup where this card doesn't usually have text, you can just go, okay, like attack, 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 still in my battle phase, Super Poly, fuse my board away for a Violet Chimera, there's the last minute damage that I needed. So this card is just super versatile. It is very dead in some matchups, but in the matchups where it's live, this card can just win you the game. And I think you're going to run into enough matchups where I think it's okay having Super Polymerization in your main deck. And then 3 Call by the Grave. This card's like, it's been pretty hit or miss in the last couple of weeks. Like obviously you need it to protect your combo for going through, but you're not really using this as a like trap anymore. You're only really using it as a way to protect your combo. And a lot of the decks recently have been cutting on their hand traps so that they can just play more combo cards. Like some Orcus builds are just playing 0 hand traps to try to full combo you. Like Danger Thunder Dragon only really has the 3 Ash. Sometimes they don't even have that. And Sky Striker's only playing 3 impermanents, and you can't even Call by the Grave impermanents. So I've thought about cutting this card, but I think it's just too important to have for the Orcus matchup in the mirror that you might want that. I think it's still fine to main deck. Although I could see like maybe cutting a copy or cutting all 3 for other cards. And then because I don't own impermanents, still on the 3 Forbidden Chalice. This card still overperforms for me. You know, it's obviously not impermanents, but nothing really is. But I think it does a good enough job that it's a fine budget replacement. And it's not like people haven't played this card before in this deck. But not for the effect negation, but for the effect that it makes your opponent, your opponent's monster gains attack. So Violet Chimera triggers to deal double damage. So that's really good. And then onto the traps. This might seem really weird, but I'm playing 2 Rage and 2 Roar. Or 2 Roar, 2 Rage. So the reasoning behind this, and I got this straight from the Oceanic Nationals list, was that because I'm playing Potted Desires, I don't want to banish my traps off of it, because those are the way that I can usually solidify my board state. Whereas by playing 2 of each trap, I can still Desires and usually have a trap in my deck. And it's not like I'm cutting bad card, or it's not like I'm cutting good cards to make room for these. You just have to make room for it when you're deck building. So it's like, okay, what were the weakest cards in the deck? Will and, like, Upstart. So you just, like, kill Will and Upstart to make room for 2 more traps. And, like, your deck more or less functions the same way. So, and it's not like these cards are, like, bad to draw. Like, you still just want to draw them. It's just really annoying when you draw both, because they're each hard once per turns. So that's it for the main deck. It's 40 cards. On to the extra deck. Batman. 2 Banelinks. I know a lot of lists have been playing 3. I'm on 2 right now. The reason being is that 1, I needed to make room for the super polymerization targets, and B, this card just doesn't really come up a lot. Most of the time, you only ever need 2 to fully resolve combos and still protect your board. A majority of circumstances, majority of the time, you just never need the 3rd Banelinks. It just really doesn't come up that much. And if it is coming up, you're either already in a winning position because you're trying to get the monster off the board, or you're in a losing position because you need to make a link so that you can activate a trap. So, I just felt like there weren't enough times where the 3rd Banelinks mattered that you needed to play it. So I'm only playing 2. 3 Sunlight Wolf. This card's obviously busted. 2 Heat Leo. This card is the main way that you're getting to win the game. And for the utility links, Hita is insane. Not only for the fact that it helps you steal your opponent's monsters to make your own board, but the 2 down arrows. And usually your turn 1 board of Sunlight Wolf Dweller, if you need to make room for extra monsters, it lets you link off the Dweller, and then you can start doing Salamangreat plays, which is really insane. Phoenix, Borreload. This card's good against Thunder. It's also really good in the mirror, too. It's just hard to kill, hard to interact with. So that's it for the links. And then for the XCs, 1 Mirage Delio. This card's obviously great. Dweller is the best rank 4 in the game. And Tornado Dragon. I was originally playing Baguska, but I think you should be on Tornado Dragon right now, just because Sky Striker is so popular, and being able to interact with the back row on your opponent's turn is more relevant than the Baguska stun. Although in some matchups, Baguska can just win you the game, and I think in most matchups, Baguska is better. But I think in this metagame, you want the Tornado Dragon. But you could still make an argument, and you're probably okay with playing Baguska instead of Tornado Dragon. But these 2 are mandatory. You just have to play these cards. And then Violet Chimera, Starving Venom. These are the super polymerization targets. That does it for the extra deck. On to the side deck. 2 DD Crow. This card's great in the mirror, and it's okay against a lot of rogue decks. 3 Lancia, just a side deck staple at this point. Down to 2 Pankratops because I wanted to make room for other going second cards. And people know that this card's great, so a lot of the times it's actually dead when you side it in because you're usually never able to use its effect on a relevant card because the body is more relevant than that. Or just you play it, and then it just immediately dies to a board wipe, and you didn't do anything with it. And then 3 Mind Control. I got this from Brian Rayo, so shout out to him. So I really like the theory behind Mind Control. Really, I just like Mind Control. I think this card's insane, but it makes a lot of sense in this deck because you have a very hard time breaking boards going second, and this is one way to do it, especially in the mirror because what you can do is you can go, because usually your opponent's going to try Sunlight Wolf Dweller you in the mirror, so you go, okay, activate Mind Control, target your Sunlight Wolf, do a salad play, make Borreload take your Dweller, and now you have a board presence. And it was all because you opened a Mind Control Circle. Or Mind Control Foxy or whatever, right? This card just helps you so much in allowing you to break your opponent's board while facilitating your own board. And just you go, or sometimes just you go, alright, take your Heat Leo, make my own Heat Leo, spin a bunch of your back row away and then kill you. 3 Twin Twister, back row hate obviously. And then for the matchups where Super Poly is dead, like Sky Striker and Rogue, I have 1 Solemn Warning and 1 Judgment. You could play 2 Strikes, or or you could play Imperial Order and something else. But I just wanted cards that I could bring in matchups where Super Poly just doesn't have text, and these were usually the 2 that could come in and have text a lot of the time. So that's going to do it for my post-NAWCQ semi-budget Salamangreat deck profile. Like I said, a lot of this is theory crafting, and a lot of it hasn't really been tested yet. But I really like the theory behind the list. I like a lot of the cards in the list. And I think it's just a fine deck. Obviously, I don't own Signet Mining, I don't own Impermanence, I don't own Phantasme. But I don't think that has to necessarily deter you from playing a deck. I've always played decks on a budget before, and I tend to do well with them. It just comes down to really your deck building theory and what matchups do you want to beat, what matchups do you want to lose to. And I think with my specific deck build, I'm okay with losing to Striker a large percentage of the time, just to beat every other deck in the format, and I think that's okay. Obviously, it's metagame dependent. Like, if you're only ever going to play your locals, and that's the biggest tournament you're ever going to play, then, like, obviously just build the deck that's good for your locals. You don't have to necessarily play this specific list. But I think that, like, if you're trying to go to a regional, or you're trying to play, like, an OTS, this is a good starting place to be. Like, any nearby OTSs of mine, I'm probably playing this deck. It might not be this exact list, but it's going to be this deck. But anyway, leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section down below. If you have any questions, leave them down there as below. Like I said, I'm more than willing to answer them, help you guys out with your deck building. Like I said also earlier, my Facebook and my Twitter is in the description. Go follow me there, message me, post cool shit. And that's going to do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Nick from Team Table 501, and get good scrubs. I'll see you next time.